Hey, this is Josh with Grimco Tech Supports. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up contour lines for a print and cut job. So here on the screen, I've got a fairly simple file that I'm going to set up to be able to print and then go around and contour cut this out for some kind of signage or something like that. So I've got some text here, and then I got a logo that I want to set up so I can do a print and cut on. So the first thing is you can see by that kind of blue line underscoring the text here that this is still text. It's a font. I could edit it if I wanted to, which is fine, but in most cases I want to go ahead and convert that to a shape. So I can't edit it anymore, so I want to make sure I've got my spelling correct and all that and the font right and everything, but that'll make it easier to put a cut line on, and also it'll be easier for the RIP. I won't have any font issues if maybe the RIP workstation doesn't have this font or something like that. So just overall kind of good idea to expand your fonts. So we'll go in here, we'll just go ahead and do it on everything just to make sure. Go to select everything, go to object, up at the top, go to path. I'm sorry, not path. We're going to go to expand this time around. And we're just going to leave both of these checkbox checked and hit OK. So basically what we did there is we converted that to outline. So now this is a shape. It's all grouped together right now, but it's all one shape, and it's not text anymore. So it'll be a little bit easier for me to convert this to a cut line. All right, so for the cut line part of this, I want to copy everything that I want to have a cut line behind to a new layer. So I'm going to come up here to edit and do copy, or I can do Control C to copy, of course. And then I'm going to make a new layer. So I'm going to come to my layers tab here and click the little plus sign to create a new layer. And just so I kind of keep things organized, I'm going to call this layer print, this layer cut. Naming doesn't matter a whole lot here, it's just for organization. So on this cut layer, so I'm going to make sure I have the cut layer selected, and I am going to paste this copy that I made in place. So I can go up here to edit and choose paste in place, or Control Shift V and paste that in place. So now I actually have two of the same graphic on both layers. So I like to hide my print layer just so I know I'm only working on the cut layer. So turn the little eyeball off here. So I'm only working on cut layer stuff at this point. And I'm going to set this to my spot color. So in a previous video, we set up some custom spot colors. We went down here, we saved it out so that now they're in our user defined onyx spot colors swatch here. So that pulls up my swatch. And I'm just going to set everything to a cut contour color. So I've got cut contour. If I wanted to do a perf cut, I could choose the cut contour perf. And then spot one is for white ink and onyx, but we're not going to worry about that now. So set everything to this custom spot color here, cut contour. So now if I were to turn my print layer back on, you can't see it because it's covered up, but I can change the order just so I could see. Sometimes I'd like to be able to see what I'm doing. So put the print layer on top, and it shows this is how it's going to print, and this is what's going to cut. So the last step here I may want to do before I send this over to the printer is just create some bleed on the print object. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the cut layer so I make sure I'm only working on print stuff. Select that, and I'm going to just do a path offset on all this to kind of generate some bleed. So I come up here to Object, Path, Offset Path, and it kind of gives me a preview of what it's going to do. It's going to kind of create some kind of bubble block letters here, and that's what I want, because I want that way when it goes to contour cut, there's kind of a bleeded area, so I don't get any little corners of white where maybe the plotter was a little bit off or something like that. So it'll look kind of funny. It'll look like this kind of bubble block letter type of thing here, but that's okay because it's going to print funny, but when it cuts out, it'll look like the way it's supposed to. So now this file's ready to go. And I could have maybe shrunk the bleed in a little bit, but that's okay. If I wanted to, I could kind of take this a step further and actually unite these shapes, because that offset actually creates two shapes, but I could just come into my Pathfinder tool and unite those into, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. So don't do that. just go ahead and leave them two shapes. It doesn't really matter. You could basically ungroup this and then fix that problem. So if I ungroup and just make sure I have to ungroup this as well. Don't want to unite that into one color, so then I can unite this stuff here. Oops. Ooh, don't do that either. Unite that stuff, and then unite the black stuff here. That part of it's kind of a little bit unnecessary for a print cut job, but it kind of just cleans up the file a little bit. So then if we were to turn our cut layer back on, of course it's going to be hidden in the background, but if we just flip-flop these layers, oops, not merge layers, but flip-flop them, Control Z to undo there. So there's what's going to cut, and then you can kind of see the bleed around it. The order of the layer doesn't really matter. Onyx is going to sort that out. It's going to see this cut line, this spot color here, and go, oh, that's a cut line. I'm not going to print that. I'm going to generate a cut file for that. Cool, so that one's set up and ready to go. That one was fairly easy, so I'm going to do another video that's a little bit more difficult, but it's still the same concept. We're going to basically set up a cut line for print and cut. Stay tuned. Thanks.